Welcome back. It is really hard to believe that it's been almost 2 years since COVID-19 was first exposed to Western Washington. But did you know that Seattle played a key role in developing one of the COVID vaccines? In his first book, The First Shots, author and journalist Brendan Burrell takes us back to March of 2020. It was just less than 2 years ago all this happened, but it seems like it's been a lifetime ever since. Take us back to what was going on in Seattle, March of 2020, when far as the vaccine goes.
Well, March 16th, 2020 was a very important date. That is when the first participants in the Moderna clinical trial arrived at Kaiser Permanente Health Center there and received the first doses of vaccine. So they were the guinea pigs.
They were only one of two locations in the United States, right, that were getting these vaccines. It was here, and was it Nashville?
The trial ended up expanding to a broader number of sites, but originally it was just going to be in Seattle.
Wow, that's amazing. I was actually a medical health reporter at the time, and I remember covering the important roles that our local organizations played, like Fred Hutch. They played a large role in developing the vaccine and Operation Warp Speed. Share what you highlighted about their involvement.
The former president of Fred Hutch, Larry Corey, is a very accomplished virologist, vaccinologist who'd done a lot of HIV vaccine trials. And he's actually very close friends with Tony Fauci. They worked on many HIV projects together. When Operation Warp Speed was coming together, Dr. Fauci calls up Corey and he's like, I need you. Can you come out and spend time in DC? And Corey actually told him, he's like, listen, I'll work for the government, but I'm staying in Seattle. It's
amazing to think about that. And, I think a lot of the interesting points about learning about this is it wasn't necessarily a new science when it came to immunology, which is what I think Fred Hutch was specialized. But let's talk about the scientific heroes in your book and how they were able to create the COVID-19 vaccine so quickly.
Well, rewind the clock to January 2020. The first sequence of the coronavirus is uploaded by a Chinese scientist, and it ricochets around the world. So there's all these little scientists in university laboratories and at the National Institutes of Health, which is one of the places I focus on, who are, basically hitting into high gear to start developing their vaccine. So within 3 days, Barney Graham, who's the key vaccinologist at the NIH, has sent off a sequence designed for the vaccine to Moderna. These are their longtime partners, collaborators, and they're basically say, we're going to get into clinical trial as quickly as possible within 3 months. They actually only did it in 62 days.
Wow.
And that's when those folks in Seattle got vaccinated.
There was some skepticism. Do you address that skepticism with Operation Warp Speed in your book?
Operation Warp Speed was so dizzying. I remember I was reporting on COVID and I'd heard what Fauci had said, it's not going to be 18 months before a vaccine. And then suddenly the president is saying by the end of the year, scientists were skeptical. They were worried we were rushing things. And I think that shook many people in the local communities. I mean, did you want to take a vaccine that was rushed? No. But what I talk about in the book is that that's not really what was going on under the surface. There were all these scientists with their nose to the grindstone trying to do the best they could and not worrying about the noise. And they were going through all the typical processes. These technologies, the mRNA and the actual strategy that went into the coronavirus vaccine, these have been decades in the making.
Right.
And so, yes, we went fast. We broke records. Previous record was 4 years for mumps vaccine. This vaccine was produced in 11 months, and it was done safely. The clinical trial enrolled 30,000 people, which is large for any clinical trial.
I wonder when we talk about this, because I think the one thing that people keep reflecting on is the pandemic. It's never going to be over. And in a sense, viruses are the only thing evolving faster than us, right? I mean, this is something that we will be continuing to fight, right?
A virus gets inside your body and it makes, multiple billions copies of itself. And every single copy is a little bit different. And so that's where these variants emerge. And so, yes, in some sense, we are in a perpetual arms race against the virus.
Fascinating stuff. All right.